Welcome, luxury enthusiasts, to the Luxury Travelers Podcast, hosted by Rodney George. The ultimate passport to opulent destinations, extravagant experiences, and unparalleled indulgence. Whether one is a seasoned jet setter or daydreaming of the next lavish getaway, the Luxury Travelers Podcast has it all covered. So buckle up and prepare for a journey into the lap of luxury. Now, your host.
Well, good morning or afternoon or evening, whatever time it is when you finally have a chance to watch this podcast. You guys are in for a great surprise today because I have with me a 30-year veteran of the luxury travel sector of the cruise business. I have with me Nikki Upshaw, who is the Senior Vice President of Sales and Marketing at Oceania Cruises. Nikki, welcome to the show.
Thank you very much, Rodney. Thank you for having me.
It's great to have you. I can't believe you're giving us a part of your very busy day because I know I've watched you run before. I know how you go.
We're all busy.
Well, the world is open and things are happening, and Oceania is still out there holding their spot, elbowing people out of the way as far as where to go if you want the best cuisine at sea. Let's start with that.
Okay. Yes, we have always really focused on our Epicurean and culinary experience. And we say we're a cruise line that was built by foodies, for foodies, and run by foodies. So for us, it's all about the dining. And, what's interesting, Rodney, is, I think many of those listening travel all over the world. And food just has this way of connecting, right? Connecting cultures, connecting people, bonding over traditions.
Yes.
But at the end of the day, everyone just wants good food. And it doesn't always have to be over the top indulgent. It can be just like that great, hamburger, right?
Exactly.
Or that comfort food.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe when Frank Del Rio and Bob Bender started Oceania, wasn't there a real famous number one employee?
Yes. Well, Jacques Pepin was our executive culinary director, which Jacques has, cooked for many heads of state, French presidents, and then really perfected the technique that so many chefs use today. And he always says, he's such a genuine, giving man. He says it starts with the ingredients. You cannot make anything good if you have not so great ingredients. Right. And once you have good ingredients, the sky's the limit. And that's one of the things we've invested in as a cruise line is to say, okay, let's make sure we get the best of whatever it is we're going to serve because it starts there.
I brought one of our chefs from here in Naples over, I don't know, it's probably 6 or 7 years ago. And thanks to the guidance of Chef Kelly, he did his entire show live in your culinary center.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And then he said, could I see the galley? And they go, you mean the main galley? Because you guys are notorious for having galleys in each of your...
We have a different galley for every restaurant.
And that changes everything right there, too. Your food's not coming from the basement 5 minutes ago. It's coming from the kitchen 30 seconds ago.
It's a la minute. And the other reason for the separate galleys is that we really wanted to, and I shouldn't say want, we have achieved that every restaurant has its own ambiance. Because to me, dining is the food, of course, first and foremost. It's the presentation, it's how you feel, but that every restaurant has its own distinct flavor. And so if you have a galley that's all combined, it's difficult to have that differentiation. So you go to Red Ginger, which is our Asian restaurant, which I know you've dined in, and it's very different and unique than the flavors you're going to find in Toscana, which is our, of course, Italian Mediterranean restaurant. But the fact, I remember when we were building all of our ships, the shipyards always say, are you building a ship or are you building restaurant outlets? Because we're so meticulous about how we're going to, really it support the culinary experience. It starts with that as well.
And it pays off in spades too. And I will tell you folks, if you're watching this for the first time and you've never been on Oceania, the first stop and the third or fourth or fifth stop for dinner is definitely Red Ginger. And I will tell you this, you will not get a better sea bass preparation anywhere on this planet than you'll get in Red Ginger on Oceania Cruises.
That miso-glazed sea bass. There's one other thing, and you've again, Rodney, have known us for a while. And of course, so many that are listening hopefully have sailed with us. But what we've also realized is that the traveler today, right, avid traveler, loves to explore. So we're, as you know, we spend so much time in port. You get back from a long day touring or sightseeing, and we have all these wonderful specialty restaurants, which of course are free. We never charge for any of our specialty restaurants. But you want something casual, and yet the food quality, the culinary experience needs to be at a high level. So we've gone into this relaxed and refined option as well, like our terrace cafe, our trattoria out on al fresco at the pool, where you can have design your own pizza and your caprese salad and your bottle of wine, and just really relaxed but still extraordinary dining is another kind of evolution or innovation that we're making. We're just not going to stop.
No, well, and you shouldn't because you do everything so well. And you hit on something earlier about ingredients, and I was going to tell you the chef that we had on doing his TV show from your ship, he was blown away by the provisioning that you guys do
Mm.
and the quality of the ingredients that you do purchase. He was blown away. He goes, I got to rethink everything I'm doing now.
Well, I will tell you that the coming out of the pandemic has definitely made life more difficult. I wouldn't say just for Oceania, but any hospitality industry. But we're also perfecting local sourcing. So we always did that, but now really more than ever, because then you have that fresh ingredient and you can actually, certainly get it quickly, and know that you're also kind of blending in with the destination, to make sure that that's a good again, a good travel experience is to have the culinary experience, the destination we're going to come alive on board.
It truly does. And I think the coming alive also transcends over to your culinary hands-on culinary center that you have on your newer ships. You want to tell everybody a little bit about that?
Yeah, we pioneered hands-on cooking school. So lots of cruise lines will do demonstrations and they do them beautifully, but we decided why not, learn from some of our top chefs. You mentioned Chef Kelly. So
Yeah.
Chef Kelly is still with us and a few others. And you can come into a 24 station culinary center. And it's an hour, sometimes 2 hour class. There's everything from technique to then dishes of the area. So if you're in Spain, it might be learning how to make the perfect paella. Or of course, in South America, maybe it's going to be a little bit of pisco and accompanied by ceviche. In Asia, you mentioned the miso-glazed sea bass with certain things. So bringing that destination through learning how to make traditional dishes of that area. And so that's available on Riviera and Marina. Vista, our new ship, there's a whole new concept where right attached to the culinary center, there's a dining area. So now you can take your creation and take it into the dining area and share that with the rest of the guests that cooked alongside you. So it's kind of a more of a social gathering as well.
Well, you guys kind of pioneered too, going to market in a port
Mm.
and buying provisions and coming back and using what you bought at the market to prepare something over the top.
Exactly, and we also have our chef market dinner. So one opportunity, as you just said, is you bringing it back on and going to the culinary school. The other is Terrace Cafe, which is our beautiful outdoor al fresco casual dining. Now, just about on every cruise, once again, we'll bring the destination into the cruise experience or dining experience with a chef's market that's all about local cuisine, and that's been really well received.
So you want to be foodie and someday amateur chefs out there really should put this on your bucket list.
Absolutely. And you can be indulgent. You can be healthy too. We have lots of healthy options. So I think sometimes they'll say, Nikki, so am I just going to be dining all the time? I said, no, you're going to mix that up with a whole bunch of things. But when you're on board and you are ready to, enjoy your meal, it's going to be spectacular.
Well, Oceania, more than most cruise lines, requires me a few extra laps around the top deck in the morning. And I always, always, always take the stairs. If you will do a few laps in the
Yes.
morning around the track and take the stairs,
I like
it
your
is, and
secret.
it works.
Yeah.
It works for me anyway. So, other than a foodie, how would you describe the average traveler that sails with Oceania?
So, it's interesting. I find, and maybe because I'm getting older, Rodney, But our travelers, we've always been that, kind of call it well-traveled. I hate to say ages, right? Because I think it's not about age, but certainly usually someone that has traveled quite a
Yeah.
bit, uh, knows that they want to keep traveling, but they want to be able to do it in their
Right.
style. So we're a cruise line that allows you to customize a lot of the experience on board versus your cruise experience almost being prescribed. It can be actually customized, by, well, you and your team, right? To make it your own. Usually a kind of active traveler. I'm not going to say like a marathon runner. Well, we get that too, but active being that they're eager to get out and explore. So it's not a sedentary, traveler. It's one, let me get out there, sometimes with our excursions, sometimes on their own, but just inquisitive. Let me keep learning. I always say that our travelers are primarily like lifelong learners, whether it's about culinary or cuisine or architecture or culture or politics or, just the area. It's about art, architecture. It's give me more, right? They're
Yeah.
hungry and curious travelers, which makes it fun on board.
Anything with Frank Del Rio's handprint on it is going to be artistic. I mean, it's just
Mm.
amazing, and the art that you have on these ships. We actually saw some art on the wall on one of your ships one time. We came back and realized the lady she blew glass, and she was from
Oh
actually right
yes,
here in Naples, and she's done a ton of stuff
yes.
for us over the years.
Yeah, she's fantastic, and we have a whole wall on Marina as you go to
As you go
Horizons,
up,
and
yeah,
then our new ships. Yes, exactly. She's
yeah,
great. She's
she
terrific.
is.
Yeah, and the artwork. It's you mentioned the traveler. It's also a traveler that does appreciate design, and I say it doesn't have to be over the top. It's just more that well designed. We have a very welcoming residential feel to our ships, including, and I think primarily because you turn every corner and there's customized art and very, again, very personal, kind of furniture and furnishings. So it just feels
And I don't know
welcoming.
if you still do it or not, but in the past, that artwork is for sale, right?
Some of it is. Some of it is our, call it, permanent
Yeah.
collection, but we do have some that are for sale, or the artists are always showcased. So even if that piece isn't for sale, you have a way to track down the artist and see what else they might have
Yeah, I've
available.
actually had a couple of artists that came on board the ship as the resident artist in your what do you call the art thing that's right across?
Our artist
Yeah,
loft,
yes.
yes. There's just so much to
There
talk about,
is.
Rodney,
There
but yes.
is.
So you mentioned, if you're a foodie, come to Oceania. I say that if you're an immersive traveler, because we design our itineraries, our voyages to stay in port longer, overnight longer. We have smaller ships that take you to some pretty cool little spots. But it's also if you are inclined to the arts, because we do have an artist loft on 4 of our ships. And so we always have an in residence artist, whether it's photography or painting or sculpture. And if anyone's listening is an artist and wants to come and join in, that's a really great way to explore as well.
Yeah, it is. And the artists that I've had the pleasure of introducing to you guys have just come back with like, oh, that was one of the most fun 10 days I ever had in my whole life being on there and showing how we do our stuff.
Oh, good.
So, what really differentiates Oceania, the port experience that a client can expect from you guys versus some of your competitors?
You mentioned I've been doing this for 30 years. Sometimes I think, wow, that's a long time,
She
but it's flown
started in
by.
kindergarten, right?
Oh, maybe. But we do have a beautiful industry with so many different cruise options or other travel options that really do hospitality well. And when I think about Oceania, and of course, having been here now 13 years, and what makes us so unique, and it sounds a little cliche, but it's really the blend of things, not just one thing, because you can't be all things to all people, but we do focus on a few, and I believe for the most part do those few very well. And one is that I mentioned how our ships themselves, from a design, are welcoming. I would say that our team on board, our crew, it almost feels like they are part of your family or you're part of their family right away. They want to make sure that you enjoy your experience, but that it's personal, and it's about you, not just, that they're doing the same thing over and over. From a destination experience, we do travel to many of the same places as, some of the other beautiful cruise lines. But what differentiates us is staying, if you look at our itineraries, staying in port many times until 7, 8, 9 o'clock. There's nothing like sunset, like being able to be still, just traveling around the city and being able to enjoy either that last cocktail or that stroll or that cappuccino at sunset versus being off the ship. Sunsets at sea are beautiful, but there's something about, just being in port longer. You almost see the city become alive with locals. And that's another differentiation for us, is we feel like our travelers want to travel more as a local than maybe as a tourist. So we also overnight many times. That way you can see you might dine on board the ship, but then you can go out and kind of see what's happening in Bordeaux, or, we might overnight in Tokyo, or in, of course, Barcelona, or look into, Montreal, other areas close by. But that gives you that sense of place that I don't think you get on other lines, with that overnight experience. And then I'm so proud of our team, because you can put together a cruise experience and it looks fine, but we take great pains to make sure we're tempering small, tiny boutique ports with larger ones. And that might sound like, okay, why is that important? Well, because there's a cadence to you traveling. You want to be active, as I was saying, and discover, but you want to also be able to slow down a little bit. So those smaller ports give you the opportunity to be off the ship 3 or 4 hours, come back to the ship and just kind of chill. The next day might be a full day because it's a bigger port. So that lends to an experience like no other. So I think it's a culmination of all of those. Plus getting to cute little tiny ports with our 600 guest ships. Our regatta class really does make a big difference.
At the same time, the ship, especially your 3 newest ships, they're almost a destination within themselves. There's just so much to do and to see and to enjoy. One of the most enjoyable experiences I ever have, if I'm on one of those 3 newer ships, is La Reserve.
Mm, yes. Well, back to the food, Rodney.
Can you tell I skipped lunch?
We're hungry. We're hungry. Yeah, it's funny because you were saying, like I said, we could talk, and I'm obviously very, very proud and of our company, of our brand, of our cruise experience. But I was thinking, I'll get back to La Reserve in a moment, but I was thinking back to the feeling on board.
Yeah.
We have worked really hard that there's all these little spaces. Your stateroom or your suite is beautiful and well appointed, right? And you kind of expect that coming to a line like Oceania. But there's like all these, like there's the library, there's the martini bar, but then there's also our digital center, the artist loft. There's also our smaller, our smaller venues, nooks and crannies. So when you go on board, you kind of feel like you can find a space for yourself and just relax or socially meet up with people and chat. Of course, our spa and wellness center, if you're looking to, as we said, stay fit, burn those calories that you might be consuming. But just it's special because there's so many options, as you were saying, destination. But La Reserve is this. It's incredible, right? You can only do that once a cruise. Okay, maybe twice, because it is quite decadent. And I say decadent, it's quite indulgent. But it's that 6-course, wine pairing, and I love how. I'm sure you did too, just being a foodie. The sommelier comes out between every course, and so does the chef, and just shares with you the passion, the inspiration of that course, plus why they're pairing it together. And it's an insight, right? It's not just dining. It's now you're learning, back to that lifelong learning experience.
And you better have some time, because it's a 3-hour experience or better. Yeah.
It is. That's why I was saying maybe you don't want to do it. I don't mean to tell people you can't do it more often, but usually once or twice a cruise is good for everyone.
Well, people actually think that I have ADHD, and I said I'm too old for that, and they go, "No, you're not. You can't be still." But I'm still for that, because I got great food in front of me, and I'm learning something from both the wine somm and the chef. Love that experience as well. What else do we need to know? Oh, what do you got new and exciting that you've got that's just over the horizon that you can talk about?
Sure. Well, first of all, we have our next baby to join the fleet. Allura will come in July, so a year from now, July of 25, and she'll be a sister ship to Vista, which, as you mentioned earlier, launched to great accolades. Just really a gorgeous ship. 1,200 guests, and Allura will launch in Europe. So I mentioned our destinations, but we do travel all over the world. Everything from 7-day sailings to our 180-day around the world voyage. And Vista, which launched last year, it's the first time we're going to use a larger ship for around the world in 2026. So if you don't have 180 days, I understand that, but take a look at our segments because those are pretty amazing and that ship is stunning. So Allura is coming. And then we have 2 more ships on their way in 27 and in 29.
Wow.
So Oceania you're gonna have a lot more of the world that you can experience with Oceania as we keep growing our fleet and our brand.
And to think, I first met Trisha Wolf
Mm.
when Marina was about to be christened. That's how, yeah. So
Okay,
what was that?
that's 2012, I
Yeah,
think,
11
right?
or
11,
12. Yeah,
12.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Oh
So you
goodness,
got some
time
great
flies.
stuff coming.
Yes. Yes, really, really, really exciting. And we talked a lot about the culinary, but that's, as you said, in some ways we feel that as someone travels, one of the, they remember how they feel. You remember what your emotions were, what your feelings are. And a lot of that is wrapped into your dining experience because that's usually very social, right? And so we just want to be able to really, really hone in on that, perfect that.
I'm reminded of a famous quote, and I wish I could remember who did said this, but people will often forget what you said. They'll often forget what you did, but they will never forget how you made them feel. And that's how I feel when I'm on Oceania. I'll never forget how you made me feel while I was there.
Very good. Very good. I like that.
You have on your world cruise, you do some really neat things. I believe you call them overland experiences.
Yes. Yes. So we actually have overlands throughout other sailings as well. You mentioned destination earlier, and I talked a little bit about what sets us apart. I didn't hone in on our excursions because I think I kind of not forgot, but thought, okay, wait. But the overlands are another way to have a deeper immersion into an area. But our excursions themselves, we have everything from culinary excursions to architectural excursions. We also have wellness tours. So we've truly tried to look at what every traveler out there might want and design something for that. The overlands are very cool. If you're on for 6 months, right now, you want to see the rest of the world.
Right.
So go off the ship for 4 or 5 days and really immerse yourself in a destination, like for example, Southeast Asia into Cambodia, or if we're going through maybe Dubai, Abu Dhabi, or perhaps right in South America, a little bit of Patagonia. So break off for 4 or 5 days and then come back and rejoin the around the world. So those are sprinkled throughout your
I have
itinerary.
some clients that have done your around the world cruise a number of times, and he says, I swear that was the best thing they ever did for us because it gave my wife a chance to go and get away from me for a few days.
Well, that's important too, I suppose.
He said it was very healthy for our marriage. Yeah,
A little distance is good.
exactly. Well, Nikki, you guys have long been one of our favorites. As a matter of fact, I think last year at our convention, our myself and our team in our office received an award from Cruise Planners. We're the number 2 agency in the country for Oceania and your sister company region. And when I accepted the award, I said the only reason that we're number 2 and not number 1 is that for some strange reason, Cruise Planners thinks this other company that my friend Michael Consoli does a ton of business with is luxury. And I've always made the argument that they're not, but I always lose that argument. So Michael beats me every year.
So we have to change the categories because I'm with you. I don't think so either. No, thank you. You and your team. You are phenomenal, and we not only appreciate the support, but to me, support comes from just believing in what we're doing and also giving us ideas. And well, frankly, I think sometimes giving us some feedback. We're, I would say me personally, but our company, we always want to do better. And the only way you really improve is by really having great, travel partners like you to guide us and then support us. And then obviously we want to do everything we can to just grow our little cruise family together.
Yeah, one of the most exciting things I ever did on Oceania was I was invited for the christening of Riviera in Barcelona. And after it was over, Frank Del Rio grabbed me, and Frank is the former CEO of Oceania, the founder, I guess, too, right? And
Yes.
he said, "Let's go get an ice cream." And I said, "All right." So we go get an ice cream. He goes, "Go ahead." And I said, "No, I'm going to see what you're having." And I don't know if you know this or not, but Frank always gets the big parfait glass with chocolate syrup swirled inside the cup and full of nothing but chocolate ice cream that's been whipped at a really high speed. And
Wow, I did
I
not
said, I'm
know
going to
that.
name this the Frank Del Rio special. And he goes, I like that. And so if you're on an Oceania ship and the people have been there for more than a few weeks, they know what the Frank Del Rio special is.
And that sounds really, really
Oh,
good.
yeah,
Wow.
it was. It was very good.
Yeah.
Anyway, Nikki, thanks so much for taking time from your very busy day. And here we are trying to get out of the office early because it's a Friday, but I'm keeping you there so that we could get this done for our friends and clients. I tell you, we send these out to clients and they immediately call up and go, I haven't been on Oceania in a while. And it just it's starting to stimulate all kinds of business for us. So
Oh,
thank you so much for coming on, and thank you for being such a good friend over all these years. And I always have to remind everybody that's watching, as my good friend Philip Randall always said, enjoy yourself. It's later than you think.
mm, thank you,
Bye for
Rodney.
now.
Thanks for joining us on the Luxury Travelers Podcast. For more information, head on over to luxurytravelerspodcast.com to connect with our team or leave us a message. Until next time, safe travels and savor the extraordinary.